This is Eloisa with Math Leopard. Today I'd like to show you how to construct the planetary sigils by way of their magic squares. In my Planetary Magic Square series, I focused more on how to construct the squares, whereas in this video the focus will be on the sigils themselves. As is customary, I will proceed in the order established by Western tradition, that is, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon. Saturn was the farthest known planet from our world, and his magic square was 3 by 3 in dimension, encompassing the first 9 positive integers. As we can see, the placement of 1, 2, and 3 follows this blue wedge, whereas 4, 5, and 6 are straight down the middle. Finally, 7, 8, and 9 follow the purple wedge. This placement of integers is mirrored exactly in the seal of Saturn seen here. To begin, we consider the intelligence of Saturn, Agyal. The first letter is Aleph with a value of 1, hence we demarcate this with the blue circle seen here. Next we proceed to Gimel with a value of 3, seen here in purple. As such, we proceed to draw the line from 1 to 3. Next is Yod with a value of 10, not present on our square, so we return to 1 instead. Our next letter is Aleph yet again, so we impart another bump at 1 to indicate this. Finally, we end with Lamet, having a geometric value of 30, hence we use Pythagorean reduction thereof, namely 3. This path is the sigil for Agyal. Continuing to the spirit of Saturn, Zazel, we begin with Zayin, having a value of 7, seen here in light blue. Then we proceed to Aleph with a value of 1, seen here in yellow. Then immediately back to Zayin at 7, seen here in green. And finally to Lamed with a reduced value of 3. This is a sigil for Zazel. Proceeding to Jupiter, we increase the dimension of our square by 1 along each side, resulting in a 4 by 4 grid in which the numbers 1 through 16 reside. We see that along both diagonals, the original numbers when written in Hebrew remain unchanged. However, the 8 remaining numbers touched by this pink circle have been rotated along the circumference pi radians, or 180 degrees. Thus, the seal of the planet Jupiter informs the creation of his magic square. As we did with Saturn, let us first consider the intelligence of Jupiter, Yophial. Yophial begins with the letter Yod, having a value of 10, seen here in purple on our magic square. From Yod we proceed to Hey, having a value of 5, seen here in blue. Next is the letter Pei, having a geometric value of 80, which reduces to 8, seen here in yellow. Then we take both Yod and Aleph thereafter as one unit, summing to 11, seen here in green. Finally, we end with Lamed with a reduced value of 3. This is a sigil for Yophial, or Jove, which when pronounced in Latin sounds very much like Yahweh. The spirit of Jupiter is called Hismael, and begins with the letter Hey, having a value of 5. Then Samech with a value of 60, or 6 by Pythagorean reduction, seen here in blue, followed by Mem with a reduced value of 4, seen here in orange, then Aleph, whose value is 1, and as usual, Lamed, with a reduced value of 3. This is a sigil for the spirit Ismael of Jupiter. Continuing to Mars, we once again increase the dimension of our square by 1 along each side, resulting in a 5 by 5 magic square, encompassing the first 25 positive integers. If we were to analyze the placement of the integers within this square, we would proceed as follows. The first 5 integers reside along this orange triangle, then 6 through 10 along this purple path. The numbers 11 through 15 occur along the alternate diagonal, seen here in blue, and the numbers 16 through 20 are in pink, mirroring the purple path seen earlier. Finally, the numbers 21 through 25 are seen along this green triangle, mirroring the path of the first 5 integers. However, this is in no way related to the seal of Mars, seen here in red. We begin with the intelligence of Mars, Graphial, whose first letter is Gimel, having a value of 3, seen here in orange. Next we proceed to Resh, having a value of 200, which we reduce to 2, seen here in yellow. Then Aleph with a value of 1, followed by Pei with a reduced value of 8 from 80. Then we take both Yod and Aleph together, summing to 11, as seen here in green. Finally, we end with Lamed with the reduced value of 3, returning to where we began. This is a sigil for Graphial. The spirit of Mars, however, is Bartzabal. beginning with Bet at a value of 2, then Resh with a reduced value of 2, hence our second arc within that position, then Sadi with a value of 90, which we reduce to 9, seen here in blue. Next we return to Bet with a value of 2, then Aleph with a value of 1, and finally Lamed with a reduced value of 3. This is Bartzabal's sigil. Continuing to the fourth planet from the firmament, our Sun, we once again increase the lateral dimensions of the square by 1. Hence we arrive at a 6 by 6 square encompassing the first 36 positive integers. This position of the integers along the main diagonal and alternate diagonal remain unchanged in its construction, yet those along the purple and orange paths have been reflected to one another, whereafter those integers along the orange path were flipped vertically along its horizontal axis of symmetry. We can see how the 34 on top and the 4 on the bottom change places. The same relationship exists between the green and blue paths seen here, in that they first reflect their entries to one another, then the blue path reflects the resulting integers about its vertical axis of symmetry. This is the seal for the Sun, and as with Saturn and Jupiter, directly informs the creation of its magic square. Beginning with the intelligence of the Sun, Nakia, the first letter thereof is Nun, with a value of 5 when reduced. Next is Kaf, seen here in purple, with a value of 20. Then Yod with a value of 10, Aleph with a value of 1, and Lamed with a reduced value of 3 from 30. This is the sigil for Nakia. The spirit of the Sun is named Sorat, beginning with Samech and a value of 60, hence we begin at 6, then Vau with a value of 6, seen here in blue, followed by Resh with a reduced value of 2, and finally Tau with a reduced value of 4. Here is a sigil for Sorat. Note that the sum of the initial values is 666, the number associated with the solar deity. Proceeding to Friday and Venus, we note that her square will be 7 by 7 in dimension, filled with the first 49 whole numbers. Similar to that for Mars, as would be expected given their complementary natures, the sigil for Venus does not inform the creation of her magic square. Instead, we begin with the main diagonal, along which the sum of integers at equal distances from the center is constant, namely 50. 7 times 50 yields 350. The same is true along the alternate diagonal, yielding a second diagonal sum of 350. Hence both diagonals sum to 700, which, by Pythagorean reduction, is equivalent to 7, the number of rows and columns in this square. However, the alternate diagonal increases by 1 as we descend from top left to bottom right, and then swings back up from 28 to 29 on the right. Next, we proceed to the more fascinating aspects of the occulted nature for this seal. If we consider that the master numbers 11, 22, and 33 are never to be reduced, then we see that the sum of 8, 1, and 2 is 11, leaving us with 9 at the base. These values then encompass the enigmatic value of 33, as if to emphasize its importance. Next, we see the left-facing blue crescent, the sum of whose values, 38, 31, and 30, is 99, but who also encircle 13, the mirror of 31 beside it, one representing the left-hand path and the other the right. Continuing on to the top of the sigil, this cross has a reduced Pythagorean sum of 9, either by taking the right and left terminal points, the top and bottom terminal points, or all 4 insgesamt. Finally, the pink V-shape atop the cross, summing 16, 17, and 10, reduces to a value of 7, the lateral dimension of the square for Venus. This seal contains so much that is hidden, as does that for Mars. I suggest returning to the seal for Mars to locate analogous mysteries contained therein. The intelligence of Venus is called Hagyal, written Hei with a value of 5, seen here in purple, Gimel with a value of 3, seen here in blue. Then both Yod and Aleph are taken together with a sum of 11, followed by Lamed with the reduced value of 3 from 30. Note that the sum of these letters is 49, the number of integers in Venus's square. This is a sigil for Hagyal. Continuing to the spirit of Venus, Kedmal, we begin with the letter Kaf with a value of 100 reduced to 10, seen here in purple, then Dalet with a value of 4, seen here in blue, followed by Mem with a value of 40, seen here in pink, then Aleph with a value of 1, and Lamed with an unreduced value of 30, seen here in orange. This is the sigil for Kedmal. Proceeding to Mercury, the dimensions increase to an 8 by 8 magic square, containing the integers from 1 through 64. The Seal of Mercury follows a placement of the numbers to a T. We begin with both the main and alternate diagonals, wherein the original placement of the integers remains unchanged. We then look at corresponding numbers along the perimeter with origin symmetry about the center. We see that the entries in pink, yellow, purple, and orange have been rotated through pi radians from where they began, terminating in their corresponding colors across a diagonal. We then return to 8 more integers that remain unchanged, the alignment for which create isosceles triangles truncating each of the 4 corners. Finally, we look at the remaining integers, delineated with the following circles. The yellow and purple circles swap their integers via a rotation of 180 degrees about the center, as do the orange and pink circles. Hence, the seal for Mercury is indeed a key to the construction of his magic square. The intelligence of Mercury is named Tyriel, spelled out with Chet, having a value of 9, seen here in yellow, followed by Yod with a value of 10, then Resh with a reduced value of 20, then both Yod and Aleph summing to 11, ending with Lamed's unreduced value of 30. This is the sigil for the intelligence of Mercury. The spirit of Mercury is called Taftartarat, beginning with Tau and a value of 400 reduced to 40, seen here in orange, then Pe with a value of 80 reduced to 8, followed again by Tau reduced to 40, then Resh with a value of 200 reduced to 20, back to Tau with the reduced value of 40, and returning once again to Resh with the reduced value of 20, finally coming full circle to end with Tau and a reduced value of 40. This is a sigil for Taftartarat. The closest and most influential heavenly body is the moon. However, her proximity is inversely related to her willingness to impart her secrets. So much about her remains occulted. We begin with the dimensions of her square, numbering 9 by 9, and encasing the first 81 positive integers. As with the other 2 planets representative of human emotion, the seal of the moon is not a guide to her square. Instead, we see that along the main diagonal, the sum of the entries equidistant from the center have a Pythagorean reduction to 1. The same is true along the alternate diagonal, indicating that the reduction of both diagonals is 9, given the center is counted twice. We then proceed to the 4 crescent shapes within the seal. On the left, if we sum the 2 integers 47 and 67, where the purple crescent begins and ends, the sum reduces to 6. Similarly, the reduction of 29 and 13 for the blue crescent is also 6. However, the reduction of 15 and 35 in the green crescent is 5, as is the reduction of 69 and 53 seen here in pink. However, the sum of 6 and 5 is 11, and we have 2 11s, which can be thought of as either 1111 or 22. This is the seal of the moon. The spirit of the moon is called Hosmodai, beginning with Chet and a value of 8, then Shin with a reduced value of 30, which we add to Mem, whose value is 40, summing together to 70, seen here in purple, then Vau with a value of 6, followed by Dalet with a value of 4, then Aleph with a value of 1, and finally Yod with a value of 10. This is a sigil of Hosmodai. The intelligency of the intelligence of the moon is termed Malka Bethar Sitim Hedberuch, though this is where she wields her spell over the clarification process. What follows is my best attempt, a foundation for those more capable than myself to build upon. We begin with Mem and a value of 40, followed by Lamed with a value of 30. We then combine the last 2 letters of this first word, Kaf and Aleph, summing to 21. Then we begin again with Bet and a value of 2, proceeding to Tau with a reduced value of 40, then Resh with a reduced value of 20, followed by both Shin and Yod with a reduced value of 31 from 310. Next we combine Tau, Yod, and Mem, whose value is 1010, which we reduce to a Pythagorean equivalent of 11. To retain visual clarity, we then jump to the end with Vau and Chet, whose sum is 14, which when mirrored is 41, seen here in purple. Then Resh with a reduced value of 2 in this instance, followed by the conjunction of Resh and Bet, which when read from right to left is the number 4 and 2, hence 42. The mystery lies with Ayin. There is more to this sigil than meets the eye. This is where the mystery begins and where I leave you to embark on your own initiation. May all of our journeys into the infinite return us safely home. Thanks for playing, and I'll see you next time.